Good morning and welcome to 5 Minutes of Freedom. It's the 12th day of August, and I thank you very much for joining us here at 5 Minutes of Freedom, brought to you by Archangel Outreach Ministries. Check us out online at archangeloutreach.org, or please go to our Facebook page and check us out at Archangel Outreach Ministries. And please take some time on our Facebook page to comment on 5 Minutes of Freedom, or give us some suggestions of different scriptures that maybe you'd like me to talk about, or comments on the scriptures that I've always talked about. I would love your feedback. I would love your input on if we're doing a good job, or there's some other things that we can do to help you better understand. And even though I want to try to help you, maybe you can help me. I need help just as much as anybody else does. But I want to share with you what happened with me last night. I was in Belton, Missouri at Rock Brook Church in Belton, and I was there at their Celebrate Recovery group, and I got a wonderful chance to share at a Celebrate Recovery that was so loving, so inviting, so just open-armed. As soon as I walked through the door, it was amazing how loving these people were. And it goes to show that how wonderful a week I've already had. I started Monday at Eastside. Tuesday, I was at a church that I wasn't even supposed to be at, and God opened that door. But that played into being patient and waiting on God's will. And that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight, because patience is a big issue for me. I've had so much trouble with patience in my past. I've always wanted everything right now. I wanted to run before I walked. I wanted to walk before I crawled. I wanted to do things on Joe's terms and not on God's term, and that always got me in a situation or crossways and not doing well. Well, last night when I was at Rock Brook Churches, when I was giving my testimony, I really related with this young lady, and this young lady came up to me after I was done with my testimony, and she said, "I need to talk with you." Well, we got to talking, and she asked me several questions about God and giving her life to Jesus, and that she had struggled with heroin. But the question that she kept asking, that came over and over and over again, is, well, how long? If I come to know Jesus, how long will it take for things to get better? Or if I do this, how long before I see a benefit for my actions? Well, I asked her a question after we had talked for a little while, and understanding this reoccurring question of how long, I asked her, I go, how long have you been in your addiction? How long have you been hurting? How long have you been taking? How long have you been selfish? And she answered me the question, 12 years. And I was like, oh, wow, I could identify with that time frame, because that's about how long that I was in my active addiction. And I said, you can't possibly believe that things are good are going to start happening just overnight after you've been hurting for 12 years. You reap what you sow, and you've sown a bad seed for 12 years, so it's going to take a little while for good things to start happening. You're going to have a little bit of patience. And that brings me to my scripture that I want to share with you this morning. It comes out of book of James, chapter 1, verse 2. It says, "My brethren, count all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." It says, brethren, count it all joy. Count it all joy. When you fall into various trials, when you come into those situations, and you have to be patient, and you have to wait on God's time. I don't have to wait on my time. Yeah, it irritates the fire out of me. It makes me uneasy. I don't like it. I don't like to wait, because I want what I want, and I want it now. But that patience, those trials, those various trials that we come in, it tests our faith. And even though it says we have to have a little bit of faith, it has to be tested so that faith can produce patience. And then the last part I really love here, it says, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Now let patience have its perfect work. Well, what does patience really do? Well, patience helps me understand that it's not my way, it's God's way. God has a perfect plan. He's got it figured all out. Or He's got it all figured out. I don't. That young lady that I spoke with last night, she didn't have it all figured out. None of us have it figured out. Only God does. And when we have that patience waiting on Him, it perfects us, completing us to where we lack nothing. That we're diligent and we wait on His time. We wait on His works. We put in the direction, we put in the effort, but He directs our steps. through the patience and the obedience that we have in Him. So I pray a special prayer this morning for that young lady last night. I pray that you have patience and understanding that God's perfect will, God's perfect work can and will be done in your life, but you have to have the patience on Him. You can't fix everything today that has happened for the last 12 years. So let patience have its perfect work and be complete in you so nothing lacks. And I pray that prayer for you. I pray it for me, that we all have patience today. Have patience and wait on God. Have patience with other people. Have patience, period. Remember, patience is key in obeying God. This is 5 Minutes of Freedom, brought to you by Archangel Outreach Ministries. This is Joe Hahn saying I love you, God bless you, and have a great day.